start with Jacoy Garrett. See you. We got questions? Patrick, you want to know?
For both of you guys, defensively, what kind of flipped for you in the second half, particularly for Jacoy, kind of dealing with Huffman after he got hot? How did you kind of contain him late?
Oh, yeah. It takes a total team effort, knowing personnel, knowing guys that we could be a little bit later on the gap on, and just being able to talk. Communication is the biggest thing for us on defense. So when we're talking, I feel like, we could be one of the best defensive teams in the country.
Liam?
You guys have played in a crazy amount of overtime games, or even just close games, especially recently. For such a young team, kind of how important do you think that is for you guys?
Yeah, I think especially being a young team, it's good to get those experience of games in the non-conference. We're ready for them now. I think when it gets down to being a 4-minute game, we look at those increments between media timeouts. We know that we just got to do enough to win, and that starts on the defensive end, like Corey was talking about. We got to be better throughout a full 40, so it doesn't always get to that. But we know we're prepared to win those games.
Yeah, Garrett, can you just talk about you're the inbounder on that last play in regulation. You guys had the sideline out of bounds. You had the chance to Max, going in that timeout. What's the message you guys?
Yeah, we've run that play before. We actually ran it in one of our scrimmages before the season started. So, we had confidence executing it. I know Max was pissed himself for not finishing that. But, we knew if we got to overtime, we were going to win the game. So, that's credit to the coaches for drawing up a great play.
Jacoy, great steal on the out of bounds, but you're down 3. You let him catch it, and then you knocked it out of his hands. Were you setting him up like that?
A little bit. I've been trying to get. I was trying to get it from him the whole game. I know they were trying to bring the ball over their head a lot, so I know once they brought it down, just kind of try to time it the best I can. Yeah.
Hey, also, Jacoy, when he went down the fast break and threw it down, what's going through your mind?
A lot of my teammates be getting on me in practice, telling me they want to see stuff like that. So I just took the opportunity and just jumped as high as I could. And, yeah.
Dave?
Garrett, what do you feel you were able to take advantage of this afternoon? If you could take us through the go-ahead 3 in OT as well.
Yeah, we knew they were going to put 2 on the ball a lot, and they were going to hard hedge on JB's pick and rolls. So, we were just moving the ball and getting good shots, and I found myself open a lot. The coaches give me my teammates give me confidence to shoot the ball. So I just tried to do that.
Gentlemen, for both of you, down 8 in the second half, trailing most of the first half as well. What does it, and then down 3 with under a minute to play. What does it mean to grind one of these games out at home?
It means everything. That's because I know playing in this league was a lot of good teams. A lot of games will come down, like Coach said, to the last possession. So just being prepared for that. Heading into the game, and Coach always says 40 minutes or however long it will take. So we got that in our minds the whole game, and just ready for whatever.
And then Huffman had the stretch. I think it's 16 straight points in a row. What are your thoughts of him? Defensively, you're guarding him.
He's a really good player. Really good credit to him. Great at getting downhill, getting his teammates involved, and it just took a total team effort to put us out to him.
Jake?
For both of you guys, both teams shooting close to 50%. It felt like a shootout. Went to overtime. You guys play good in overtime. I feel like you guys love playing in these shootouts. Do you guys enjoy when the scores are high and you guys go to overtime? Because the record's pretty low.
I'll speak on that first. Playing with guys like G, you look forward to games like that because I know he's gonna knock down those shots. So that's what I gotta say about that.
Appreciate you, brother. We've been in a lot of these games. Coaches get on us to start the games faster and more physically, so we don't get in those holes. We gotta dig ourselves out. But they talk to us. We dropped one here to Fordham last time we played at home. So we knew we had to lock in and not let that happen again.
Anything else for student athletes?
It's just 2 days away, tight turnaround. George Mason, what have you guys heard about this? It used to be called the Revolutionary Rivalry. Now we got to change the damn name. But what have you guys heard about this series with the Patriots over the years?
I heard it's a big thing, a very big thing. So looking forward to holding down our fort once again and looking forward to that big game.
Garrett, playing with 4 fouls there, how did you kind of navigate that, given that you were playing pretty well offensively at that point, but that 4th came in at that time?
Yeah, it was in the back of my head a little bit, but at the end of the day, I got to play hard still and still play physical and not really worry about that. I trust my teammates to help me out on defense, but I had to really lock in and play more physically because I was getting a little bit out physical in the first half.
Jake?
For either of you, obviously Max didn't shoot the best today like he normally does, but to have the trust to keep trying to give him the chance, especially at the end there in regulation, give him a shot at winning this game. what does that say to this team that no matter how people are shooting during the game, wherever you guys trust that your playmakers can get the job done?
No matter what, we believe in one another. No matter if you go 0 for 13, 13 for 13. So just seeing the work, like especially with Max, seeing the work that he puts in every day, we got that trust in him. So if you miss one, you're gonna make the next one. It's just encouraging him.
Yeah, like Coy said, I mean, we have so much talent. We all trust each other to make plays. We've seen each other do it a million times in practice and in games. So yeah, we really all trust each other, and when we do that, we're really good.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
guys.
I appreciate y'all.
I didn't know you could throw it down.
Me neither.
All right, we'll do an opening statement for the coach and then questions.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Davidson's program. The way they play has been so consistent under both Coach McKillop's for all this time, and they're very difficult to prepare for. They're different than a lot of teams, the way they do things. In fact, there's a couple of things that we do that I think, are things that we've learned from them throughout the years, and you start to see other people doing it as well. But they're very, very different preparation. I thought they were going to come in here with a high-level urgency after losing 2 home games, and they certainly did. And, I've kind of thought about a number of different things. How do you get off to a better start? I haven't really. If anybody's got a great idea, I'm open to suggestions. But really proud of the way our guys, like, after the initial thrust from Davidson, settled in, and then we had a calmness about us throughout the game, which I think is. I hope that if I do anything with this group or with any group, it's that we do have a calmness about us in close games, And so I thought we did. Would have been nice to just win it in regulation. Max will be dreaming about that one tonight. But I guess it was on his. Be better if the ball was out the other side. I guess I don't know. I should. It's my fault. But if it was on that side and you threw it to his left hand, it's easier to make it. But anyway, very, very proud of the group, and not much time to celebrate, but great to get a win.
The defensive adjustments you have to make to play a team like that.
Yeah,
the way that they play.
They're just so different. I mean, they're three. They're still they're 351 in the amount of pick and rolls that they set. So they just don't set many pick and rolls. And all of us are now building our defenses, based on how good can you be defending pick and roll, because it's so common, And obviously we're one of the most heavy pick and roll teams there is. But against them, you got to defend off-ball screens that, quite honestly, like a lot of our players, especially these young guys who just come, they haven't defended ever. Like, it's not the way people play. And they're on top of that, they're excellent at it. I felt like that way. I'm sure Jimmy, when he was in the ACC, when you play Carolina, you're not just playing that style. You're playing the people who invented that style, right? When you play Syracuse, you're not just playing against the zone. You're playing the guy who basically invented that zone. And you could go that way in the ACC for Virginia and people like that. Well, for us, you're not just playing off-ball screening action. You're playing the people who basically invented this. And so they're elite at it. And so you have to be very, very good in a quick turnaround at things that are, quite honestly, not natural for how you usually defend.
So you guys just cannot stop playing these exciting overtime games. My first question is, how is your heart? And my second question is...
Good. I got all my numbers back last week, so I'm doing pretty good.
But how do you think this kind of helps your team playing in these type games?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just think league play... I told the guys, I think we're a really good team. I don't respectfully think we're much better than anybody else, I think we're good. I think the league's good. I said it, they asked me in the league meetings. I said, look, I look around the league and the continuity that will start to develop amongst the coaches in the league, and then you look at the coaches in the league, these teams are going to be good. These guys know what they're doing. They're going to fill their roster with good players. They're going to coach them well. So this is just going to be what it's like every night, and you got to get yourself emotionally ready for that. That's why I take a nap before the game, so I get my mind right,
I talked about the calmness, and it felt like watching James today. That was a really mature game for him.
Yeah, he was very good. Him and, Garrett was awesome. But, James, I thought probably, I don't know, I'll have to look at it. I thought it was one of his better defensive games too, which I think is critical for him and our group. And, our freshmen every night are really asked to be more than freshmen. And that used to sound like, oh, that's coach talking about being young. We're like, well, no, now we're playing against guys that are in their fourth and fifth year across the board. And we got so many guys in their first year. And so, like Jacoy tonight, I thought, man, he was really, really good. He was the best version of himself. And that's not always going to be the case for guys every night, but we're going to have to find it from several guys every night.
Buy your band pizzas because they miss critical free throws. Your cheerleaders,
Yeah,
it's funny
they were
when they're
great.
back-
The
when
place
they're
was
gone,
great.
They come back.
Yeah.
You got these blow-ups and the.
Yeah.
It
Did they help us? Did they miss our critical free throws too?
Stay positive. But like, how was it having the feel of everybody?
No, I thought
together?
the environment was great. The building was filled up pretty good. I mean, obviously, I'm hopeful that we'll have a great student turnout Monday. I would assume nobody's coming back late Monday night, just back for the weekend. I mean, I was in college one time. I would have really taken advantage of being around here on a Saturday night and a Sunday night without class on Monday. So let's hope that everybody's enjoying it that way. Dave?
Down 8 midway through the second half, they finally start hitting those threes. What started to click for you guys?
I think we made a few of them, right? Garrett did. Yeah, I mean, I just, I try again not to get overreact to any sort of situation. Just try to keep plugging away. And it sounds I don't know, sounds like a cliche, but it's just, I think it's the only way to operate. And you drive yourself crazy any other way. So I just, hey, what's the next thing we can do to get a bucket, And then we had a nice free throw rebound put back, which we've been spending some time on. Coach Colpoys thinks we should do it on every single free throw for the season. I'm not so sure he's wrong, but I worry about fouls. And yeah, I mean, it's, people, I mean, we've been plenty of times throughout the years, done it, and it's helped us. We won at Syracuse my last year. Jordan Miller got one. He's got long arms. He tipped it back in. So, I maybe only worry a little bit about fouling or violating. If it's a really good free throw shooter, I'm not going to violate. I got to be worried about that. But it was a great thing for us today in a critical time.
When you were down 3 and you pressed, were you gonna wait like 2 times before you fouled? Can you give us a little of that?
Yeah, quick trap, get it out, foul if you can. If it looks like they're in trouble again, I don't know. Like, you go over all these things, and the reality is when the game gets going, like, you need somebody to go make a play, and Jacoy made a great play.
And at the end of regulation, you guys had 2 timeouts left. You had one out of the press, or you broke the press at half court, and then immediately called one to set up out of bounds play. Can you just talk about the thought process?
Yeah, I'm probably a fan of advancing. If I had any say, I know the women advance, pretty sure. I think everywhere in the world advances. Maybe not FIBA. I don't know. Men's college basketball, we have all sorts of great, interesting rules that only we can have and no one else is allowed to have, like halves and things like that. But, I just think heaving it at 2.8 or whatever, I'd rather get it because we know we got some stuff, that we can do on the side with like a second left or whatever. How much time was left when we? Yeah, we had plenty of time to get a shot. So, and we have some good stuff, and we didn't get a basket, but we were pretty open. So, I don't know, just better. I think a lot of college basketball games would be better, right, in the end if you advanced,
Huffman had that heater in the second half where I think he scored 15 or 16 straight.
But he makes threes, which is not his thing, right? So it's not a guy that's made a lot of threes throughout the year. We play him that way, and he buried a couple. Now, the thing about it is when you go, we call it whipping under, like, we still want you to get a hand up. It's just, your mindset is to be under. And I thought the one he made right at the top of the key, Max just didn't, he whipped and he didn't get his hand up. You still got to get your hand up even if a guy can't shoot. It's just more about how much space you're giving them.
I kind of want to talk about JB's shot distribution. He's, throughout his career, been a very good kind of mid-range shooter.
Yeah.
He just hasn't taken a lot of them this year. Was that intentional? Obviously, he's still kind of scoring at a high rate, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting played in the drop as much. That's probably one, right? There's just not enough. Like, those mid-range shots come in the drop when, they're way off the level to pick and roll and sort of daring you to make a few. And obviously for us, that's okay for him because he can make them. I don't think he's getting dropped as much. I think you're probably seeing more two on the ball.
Chris,
Yeah.
you and Tony Skinner have a really tight relationship for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be the first time going against him. Just
Yeah,
elaborate.
yeah, just very proud of Tony. You know, obviously I wouldn't be the coach here if Tony didn't play at George Mason and, you know, help us get to the Final Four and all that. I know how that stuff works, right? So I owe a lot to Tony, you know. And I was very, very proud of him, both as a player and then as an Olympian for the Nigerian national team. When he got hurt after the Olympics, which was unfortunate because he was really played very well in the Olympics. He made James Harden fall in the Olympics, right? And he was going to get a great contract in Italy, but he got hurt, and so he didn't get a chance to really continue out his professional career. And he went into coaching, high school. And I was one of the people I would think he would tell you that. I said, okay, if this is what you want to do, and this is what you should do. So he was coaching AAU basketball, working at a public school and charter school in D.C. He interviewed at George Mason as an assistant, and he didn't get the job. He was very bummed out. And I remember having a conversation with him and saying, listen, like, when you get close like this, all it says is that, like, you're going to get the next one, whatever that is, you know. And he, you know, obviously Coach Conkle, Eric Conkle, who worked with us at George Mason, gets Louisiana Tech. And I think Eric called me too and said, all right, what do you think about Tony for this? And I said, yeah, no, it's home run, you know. And he's, you know, the student athletes, you know, that's a great role model for them. And he goes to Louisiana Tech, Seton Hall, Maryland, Ohio State, Maryland, and now at George Mason. So I'm very happy for George Mason to have somebody connected to that time. It's been a long time, and so having somebody connected to that era, somebody who was obviously impactful as he was there, you know, obviously I want to beat him on Monday. I want to beat those guys. I want to beat anybody we play. But you know, it's like any of these guys. You know, you just be so proud of them for the type of careers they're having. So.
I'm curious about fouling up three because this is a kind of maybe a divisive thing in the basketball community. So kind of what was going through your brain then?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think you have to, on the side like that, it's a little bit more difficult than the length of the floor, right? Because, you know, length of the floor, a guy can bring it up a few dribbles, put some pressure on him, he starts going fast, hit him. When it's on the side, you're very concerned about a guy coming towards the ball and turning as you're thinking foul. What you really want to do is try to really, like, face guard, and then as they break towards it, like, hey, come pass me the ball, basically run through it and foul them on that. We did not do that. They were able to get the ball with a little bit of space, and I think Jacoy, again, made a good decision as we were switching at 5 positions. As he came off and there was going to be a switch, he fouled on the switch. I think. You know, you have to watch it, but it's kind of like, I don't know, I read this thing years ago when I was like in 8th grade or something about like plane crashes versus car crashes. It's like everyone's really scared of a plane crash because it's horrific to think about dying in a plane crash, but they happen so less frequent than a car crash, which happens like all the time, right? I think it's the same thing with fouling up three. It's like, it's horrific to think about losing when you foul up three. Like, oh, they tipped it out and made a three and you lose or whatever. After the first free throw's made, it just doesn't happen that much. It's much more frequent that somebody comes down and just buries a three when you didn't foul and now it's tie game and, you know, you lose in overtime or something. So that's my analogy for that.
Jake. Yeah, Coach, obviously the play at the end of max, at the end of regulation, doesn't go in. I see him staring at the net. But that could have been a turning point for this team. That could have been something that kind of deflated you guys going into overtime. What was the conversation like going into overtime and you guys were able to play?
I told him, I don't want to feel the way I felt after Fordham. Like, hey, we get to overtime, like, we better play good so we can feel good. Like, and, you know, I told him, hey, listen, it is what it is. You move on to the next play. I mean, I was, would have been nice to go in. But then again, if it goes in, then we never run it again because it's like on Twitter all everywhere and you can just got to throw it away.
Dave.
I know that we're still, wrapping up Davidson. Any, thing that you've seen or thoughts about George Mason as they come
Yeah,
in?
I know they're really talented. I think he's done a great job. Anytime, in this climate where people are going to, like rosters get gutted in coaching changes. And I think Tony's done a magnificent job, really, keeping polite and bringing the guys in. They're a very talented team. He's done a great job coaching them. They've won a bunch of close games as well. He's got Lamar Butler on his staff, another one of our great players. So I'm just so, proud of those guys. And I think, the George Mason community should be proud of what they're building over there. And they're good. Keyshawn Hall's a really good player. I think he's one of the best players in the league. Obviously, Maddox. It's rare that you get a guy to transfer into Atlantic 10 who had as much success as he had in the ACC. He made a damn shot against us at Miami to win a crazy game years ago. So, but yeah, no, I think they're really, really good, and I think we're good, and it should be a great game.
Were you at all involved in the Metro shutdown between Foggy Bottom and Clarendon to prevent George Mason fans from coming to the game?
I like it. I like the idea. Yeah, that's good. I wish I was. I was thoughtful.
Anything else, Abe?
Just lastly, free throws were a bit of a struggle today. Is this like an ongoing worry? Because there've been and I know the Navy game. This was also.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not as concerned globally, but there are some things I am concerned about. They're gonna try to fix, but yeah, no, not completely. Garrett missed his free throws for some weird reason. I don't know why. I don't know. Again, I'm not. It's also who gets fouled now. James Bishop did not shoot one free throw.
Still scored 20 points, though.
Now, he played 38 minutes. He had the ball quite a bit. He did not shoot one free throw. It's like a lunar eclipse or something, right? It only happens once in a while.
Anything else?
Trey Young from the Hawks, same thing happens.
There is one.
He gets knocked all over the place, no calls.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep,
Thank
thanks.
you.